Welcome back to the double leg. I'm one half of the show, Hey Jai Picks. The other half of the show, the parlay, joining me in to recap some Noche UFC. Let's get Well, we had 11 fights, and the anticlimactic ending. Alexa Grasso, and still, but not because she won, a split draw, and a very controversial scorecard that allowed her to keep the belt. And we had a couple interesting outcomes as far as fights goes. Overall, was like just a weird card overall. Especially with you get the draw with the main event, you get what was hyped up to be the fight of the year by myself. Jack Della Maddalena to Kevin Holland was kind of like a snoozer, didn't live up to the hype whatsoever. Some big finishes by some Mexicans and some undeserving performances from some other guys. But what do you think of the card overall?
Yeah, it had a little bit of everything, right? It had bad round scoring. It had questionable decisions. It had, a bunch of stuff like that. And on top of it, you got some crazy finishes. You got Rosas Jr., who's a grappler, and everybody thought was going to find the first round sub. He gets a knockdown and then a TKO. And we'll talk about his striking coming up. But it just seemed like a roller coaster. Betting wise, it was a roller coaster. Overall, just a really, really interesting card. I think we got a lot to talk about on this main card.
Yeah, as far as the premium plays go for me, I went up just slightly 0.43 units. It's tough when we get the no contest in the Shires fight. I think I had like 4 plays in total, and 2 of them was like the last leg of an underdog play, which both of those hit. And yeah, it was just a tough night to really get anything. We already had 11 fights, and then you lose one, and then you get a draw on another one. I know we were both on Grasso money line, so just get the bets refunded there. But yeah, how'd it go for you as far as premium bets go?
Yeah, I was down minus 0.35 units, so really, really small loss that should have been a win. I mean, you get Shires, if he just gets the submission there, they don't call it a no contest. One of my parlays pays a little bit more, and we'd be slightly up. And then if he would have got the Grasso money line hit, I'd be up nearly 3 units on the night. So that's super frustrating. Like you said, I had 4 plays that got voided because of a draw and the other one no contest. And that no contest, man, it would have paid too. So that sucks to see, especially on a night where you're just kind of teetering right on the edge of profit and loss, and you just need one of those plays to push you over the edge into profit. So that sucked for sure.
We'll get into it with the recap. We'll start with the main event. What'd you think of the fight overall and the decision?
Yeah, honestly, the fight kind of went how I thought it would. And it reminded me a lot of the first fight in some areas. I thought Grasso not started out slow, but I think Valentina was just so fast at the beginning of the fight. And it was tougher for Grasso to kind of get her distance down and really, do some good work on the feet. However, round two comes in there. You see a rare knockdown. Valentina getting knocked down, at least. We hardly ever see that. And Grasso followed up pretty well, won that round. Going into round 3, though, Valentina did exactly what she needed to do. She won the 3rd round. She got some takedowns, did some good work. And then you get into round 4. And after that, I thought it was anybody's fight. I thought Grasso won the 4th. I thought it was 2-2 going into 5. And you get Valentina not really doing a whole lot of, she was landing some good combinations. Her jab was working really, really well late in the 5th round, early in the 5th round. And you could tell Grasso maybe was a tad bit tired. She couldn't get her timing. Valentina looked fresher. And then Valentina makes that mistake again, and Alexa Grasso takes the back, gets her down, gets the hooks in. I thought she had the choke sunk in. And then she landed ground and pound. Time expires. And I thought that was the fight. I thought, this is going to be a split decision. I could see it, how you could give it to either fighter here. But after hearing a draw, I figured they gave it a 9-9 fifth because, you had Valentina who won the first half. You had Alexa Grasso who won the second half, or the last minute, I guess. And then to see Alexa Grasso got a 10-8, I was just super surprised by that. Like, I've never seen a 10-8 where it was the one fighter won just the last minute of the round, and you give him a 10-8 for that. So super interesting to me. I wanted Grasso to win really bad. I would have loved to hear her name called and wouldn't have argued with it. I probably wouldn't have argued with Shevchenko's name called. Just one of those razor close fights. But a draw is kind of disappointing, and I think you got to do that third fight sometime down the line.
Yeah, I thought it really just comes down to round 4, however you score it. Personally, I thought Grasso did enough to take it. If you look at the stats, she outstruck her just by one significant strike. They both landed a takedown. There's only less than a minute of control time for both girls. So that's a really close round. So when I heard it was split, I'm like, is that a 10-10 round where they just don't give him to anybody? So that's what I thought it might have been, but then you could get the 10-8 in the fifth. So technically, I mean, we kind of got saved as far as the bets go, because if Mike Bell scores it correctly, Valentina should win. But I thought Grasso still won either way. We get the draw. It's just an awful outcome. I hate draws. Like, doesn't make any sense why they're even a thing.
Especially in a title fight, right?
Yeah, in a title fight, it's like there should be some sort of clause to be like, title fight, if it's a draw, you just go to a sudden death last round and then figure it out then. Like, I don't know why that isn't a thing. I get like 6 rounds would be a lot, but it's a title fight, man. Like, like Alexa Grasso's and still, but she didn't even win the fight. So she gets the belt back. But so I guess you could just go in there, and if you want to stay champion, you could get a draw or you could get a win. That's what it's at. But I thought watching the fight overall, I was like, didn't see any adjustments by either of them. And I thought it was going into this fight, I'm like, whoever makes the adjustments from the last fight is going to win. I don't think either of them really made any adjustments. I think both of them just thought that their game from the last fight could come in and do the same thing. Like, Grasso was still getting taken down pretty easily. Like, she did stuff a good amount. She stuffed 3 out of 7 takedown attempts she stuffed, which is still pretty bad. Like, it's not, the takedown defense wasn't that improved for Shevchenko on the feet. She was still getting outboxed. It's like, there was really no adjustments. That was kind of a disappointing thing for me to see. So it was basically just like they picked up from the last fight. And if that was the case, we knew it was already like a razor close fight. So I guess, I mean, our play on Alexa Grasso looks pretty good. It was a draw. We took the underdog plus 150. It's like, that's the value side, clearly, if it's that close of a fight. So
exactly.
Yeah. You're making the right reads, and that's all you can ask for. But yeah, I would have liked to see Grasso get her hand raised too, especially, Mexican Independence Day, and the Mexican crowd would have been super happy, which is cool. But now everyone's just goes home being like, what was that, man? Like, what the hell? But I will say, I thought Grasso was going to finish her round 2. Valentina was able to bounce back. And then I thought Valentina was going to finish her round 3 with that guillotine, that mounted guillotine. I was like, oh my God, she might have this. And because it looked pretty deep into the chin. She just couldn't really lock up that second hand. Grasso did a good job fighting it off. But overall, I mean, really good chess match. Round 5, Shevchenko was winning. And it was kind of frustrating to watch because I thought it was 2-2 going into the 5th. And I was like, somebody take it. Like, you want to be champion, you got to do it right now. Shevchenko was just winning off a jab, and Grasso wasn't really going and doing anything. And then she finally took her chance and made it pay, but not enough.
Yeah, and in that second round too, props to Grasso. After she lands the knockdown and she gets her in the clinch, and it was just, hitting her with uppercut. And I've never seen Valentina like that, like almost unresponsive, just eating shots over and over. And props to Valentina for throwing a couple back. But yeah, dude, I was expecting Valentina to fall, and especially the knees to the body too, right before that. Like, you could tell those are affecting Valentina. I've never seen Valentina in that much trouble in the striking department, which was pretty cool to see. And then the other funny thing I noticed too, I saw somebody repost this on Instagram, but when Alexa Grasso standing there in the octagon after the fight, getting ready to hear the judges' decisions from Bruce Buffer, You look over her shoulder and someone zoomed in and it's Sean Shelby, and Bruce Buffer whispers something in his ear, which I'm guessing is Alexa Grasso 10-8 or it's a draw. And Sean Shelby looks up and says, "What the fuck?" Like
Yeah,
as clear as day. Like you could tell nobody's expecting a draw there. Somebody's expecting a winner, and definitely nobody expecting that 10-8 fifth round. So yeah, just it's hard to get into the mind of these judges without hearing them talk about their scoring after fights and stuff. Because I you just got to wonder what they're seeing or what they're thinking.
yeah, I remember seeing that live, like, cause it's right over her shoulder,
Hmm.
and like Bruce has got to tell Sean Shelby like who to put the belt on, and he's the one holding the Mexican belt. And then he's like, he must have told him it's a draw, but you got to
Yeah.
put it on Grasso. And he's probably like, where is this a draw? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a wild thing. Um, but yeah, I will say this last thing on Shevchenko. This isn't to take away from Grasso, but I think Shevchenko's she's well past the hill. Like at this
Yeah.
point, this is her third fight in a row where she just hasn't. She's looked superhuman. Like not superhuman in the fact that it's good, but like she's looked very human. She's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this crazy force in the flyweight division anymore. Like close fight with Santos, lost to Grasso, draw with Grasso. Like sure, I think her time's kind of up at this point. So
Yep.
moving forward, I'll definitely be taking that into account. Co-main event: Jack Della, Kevin Holland. What do you think of the fight overall? I was disappointed, as I said earlier, but what do you think?
Extremely disappointed, honestly, from both fighters. Oh man, where to even start with this? Like, it's super frustrating having a bet probably on either guy because Kevin Holland's not really throwing everything into these shots. He's kind of looking lazy in there to me. He just fought lazy. I feel like he had some openings where he could have really poured it on Jack, especially getting Jack moving backwards. And he just kind of jabbed at him and side kick and, just kind of messed around. I was waiting for him to unload and just unload, and it never came. And for Jack Della, he had some problems finding that range at times too. And Kevin was rolling with some shots, a lot of the shots bouncing off his shoulder. And I think that was frustrating for Jack. But I'm honestly surprised he didn't march forward more, knowing Kevin Holland's not really hitting you with anything significant at all.
Yeah.
Um, I think Jack is good. I think his striking's pretty good, but he just didn't impress me last night either for some reason. That's two fights in a row that it's not really that impressive for him. I do think he's got the skills to knock guys out and be a fun fighter, and he's obviously going to get better as he goes on. I was expecting a little grappling from either side too here, and we never saw. But other than that, man, not much to say. Kind of a boring fight. Split decision. I don't know. I thought JDM probably won pretty handily, based off like watching the fight. I know Kevin Holland had more total strikes and all that, but you know, Jack was landing the more damaging blows. So that's all I say. Just not much to talk about on this one, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, thought live when I was watching it live, it looked like Kevin Holland was like sparring with him. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "What are you doing?" Like it looked like when he was throwing, he was just trying to touch him. Or I don't know if he just didn't find any openings and he didn't want to like throw into something that's being blocked, but he just never really unleashed anything. Like we've seen him throw some pretty heavy hands, and like he has the reach to reach Jack Della. He just wasn't really finding any angles or anything either. I mean, Jack Della's got that high guard, and he just stand there, block it, and then wait for Kevin Holland to be done. Go back to him. Kevin Holland was rocking the Philly shell, and it was actually pretty good. But it's just a bad look to the judges. Like you're taking 5 or 6 punches in a row, just covering up with the Philly shell, throwing the shoulder up there. You're not getting hit that clean, but you're getting hit and you're not throwing anything back. So it's not a good look to the judges. I think that's ultimately why he lost the fight. He's just moving backwards, straight line, taking some shots, nothing too clean, and then returning back to Jack Della. And Jack Della's standing there with his guard up, just blocking everything with his arms. So I don't know. It was a disappointing fight for both guys because I didn't think either guy really went for it. So I can't really knock either of them for winning or losing. It's just like a toss up. All 3 rounds were pretty like I don't know how to judge this, like
Yeah.
they're both throwing decent volume, both landing at times. Jack Della, the more thudding shots, but yeah, it was just an awful fight, man. I had such high hopes for that one. And for Kevin Holland, I don't. His game plans are just always terrible. I don't understand it. Like Jack Della is a amazing boxer, and then Kevin Holland literally said, "I'm gonna box with you, and I'm just gonna see if I can win." Well, buddy, you're probably not gonna win. I mean, I love him, but the game plans are just always bad. Like I'm gonna stand and kickbox with Wonderboy Thompson. That's a good plan. No, I'm gonna just box with Jack Della. No, that's pretty dumb.
He seems like motivated for some fights and then not motivated for other ones. Like he didn't look motivated at all last night. And then you go out there in other ones and he looks like he's trying to take dudes' heads off. So I don't get it. The telltale sign for me should have been the Wonder Boy fight IQ. And then Ponzinibbio, like even though he got that knockout late in the fight, he was kind of the same thing in that fight leading up to that moment. I mean, he kind of looked like he was sparring in there. And knowing he was going to fight like that, like there's a possibility he was going to fight like that against a guy like Jack Della Maddalena, who's really slick on the feet. I should have known, but it's frustrating because you don't ever expect a fighter to go like Kevin Holland to go in there and just fight lackadaisical and not, try to do anything significant. But is what it is. Live and learn.
After he lost to Wonderboy as a favorite, I was like, I'm never betting Kevin Holland as a favorite when it's like a closer matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But at plus money, I still don't think it was a bad bet. Plus 125, plus 130 on Kevin Holland in that spot. I think he had the tools to win that fight. He just didn't go out there and do it. Maybe it was a paycheck spot for him because he kind of had to save that card somewhat as a co-main event on a decent sized card. So probably got a good paycheck for that one. And I went out there, did what he did. Rosas Jr., Terrence Mitchell. Rosas Jr., big KO round one. Terrence Mitchell, we'll see how much longer he's around, but they'll keep feeding him to anybody they want to get a win. What'd you think of the fight?
Yeah, yeah, Terrence Mitchell, I think everybody knew that Rosas Jr. is probably going to win this fight. The only chance would have been Mitchell to maybe find a weird submission or land a big shot on the feet early or something, but the TKO and the knockdown was super impressive, and I know people don't think he has striking, and they think he's just strictly a wrestler who's got good jiu-jitsu and submission skills when he gets into a dominant position, like taking your back or something. But what I saw last night was a massive improvement on the feet. Like he wasn't just swinging wildly. Like he set up and he was bouncing in and out, and he would, after he'd take one step back, he was really quick back into the pocket with a left hand and a straight left hand down the pipe too. I think he's making some pretty big improvements, and that's really good to see, especially being 18 years old. Like this kid's got another 20 years in the game if he really wants it. Like he could fight till he's 38. That's 20 years in the UFC, which is crazy. And if he's got the cardio and the gas tank and now keeps working on his striking and keeps fighting guys like Terrence Mitchell, like there's no reason why he shouldn't be fighting the Terrence Mitchells of this division for the next couple of years. And there's no rush with this kid at all. Get him a good win streak, get him some experience. If he can put it all together, he'll be really, really good. I was glad to see him bounce back after that loss.
Yeah, it was a layup at that. I mean, Terrence Mitchell is straight up ass, and anybody could really knock him out within for the first round, like Kai Kara-France did in 30 seconds. Raul Rosas Jr., it was a layup. He's a minus 800 favorite. He did what he needed to do, but at the same time, it's like, all right, it's Terrence Mitchell. But I'm not saying that to like dog on him because that's what he needs to be fighting. I mean, it's not like the UFC knows what they're doing. Like they need to feed him the bottom of the barrel for the next 2, 3, 4 fights, just to get him back on track and get him more experience because can't keep giving him tough guys and giving him tough fights because you don't want to lose him. You don't want to have to cut him, and you want to keep him around for a long time. It's like what they tried to do with Chase Hooper. And Chase Hooper's had a good amount of UFC fights. He came in really young. He's had some losses. He's looked bad in a lot of fights, but he's eventually coming around to be something decent. So we'll see what's next for him. But I would expect he gets another layup in his next fight. Daniel Zahuber, Christos Giagos. I don't got much to say on this one. Good win for Zellhuber after losing the first round, I guess, and battling back and getting the submission. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about, Yagos was going to be super dangerous early. He's got a big right hand. He's powerful. Props to Zellhuber's chin because he was rocked pretty damn bad and he was able to survive and then quickly recover too. Like it wasn't that long after he was, his legs were wobbly that he looked pretty, back to baseline. Like he was moving pretty well, not shortly or not too far after that. Submission though, not a lot of people had that on their bingo card. Pretty good submission too. So he's good. He's gets hit a little bit more than I would like him to for being, a talented striker like that, but he's still young too. He'll come around. I think he's very talented though, and it'll be interesting to see what he does going forward.
Agreed. Speaking of getting hit, Fernando Padilla can't deal with an overhand right to save his life. And Kyle Nelson, the man's got a way. I said it on the previous show. I'm like, this guy's got a way of making fights close because he will not push any kind of pace on you. He will stay to the outside. It's not like his striking is like anything crazy. He's just not going to engage with you. But Dia, I think, had some problems with that. And he wasn't really in a firefight. It was a fight that he had to like pick his shots and find openings. He couldn't really do it. And took the loss. I don't agree with a 30-27 for Kyle Nelson. I think Padilla won the first round at least, but either way, like Padilla looked terrible. Kyle Nelson, kind of hope he gets cut because I hate watching him fight. Awful fight just in general. What'd you think?
Yeah, terrible fight. It was another one where Padilla reminded me of Holland, dude, fighting lazy. Like he went from that Arosa fight to this. I mean, he didn't look slick at all. He looked slow on the feet. He didn't really, I don't know, mix anything up at all. He just had the same style, same game plan, and he was getting caught with that overhand right by Kyle Nelson. So for Kyle Nelson, I expected him to try to wrestle a little bit more and push him up against the cage. I don't think he ever felt like he was in danger to where he had to do that. To be honest, it was just boring as hell. And I made a video just to kind of make people mad a little bit. I had the video of Lupi Godinez landing that like eight punch combination on Elise Reed and then picking her up and dumping on her head. And I said, you don't see any guys in the UFC doing this. Like props to Lupi. And people went crazy on it. I'm just thinking, I posted that during this Padilla fight. Like everybody said every man does this in the UFC. I was like, did you watch the Padilla and Kyle Nelson fight? Those guys did nothing. No urgency. Nobody trying to finish either one of them. Like that was just boring stuff, man. Like if you're Padilla, you got to go out there and make a statement. Like make a run in the UFC as a prospect. For Kyle Nelson, dude, you got to make a statement to not get cut at this point. Like you beat Blake Builder, but besides that, you look pretty bad in the UFC. So super disappointing fight because it could have been a fun one.
Yeah. Just an awful fight in general. I fucking hated watching every second of that. I'm not going to lie. And
Terrible.
that's the opener for the main card. So that just really set the tone. But the feature prelim Lupi Godinez getting the finish in a second round. This was somewhat of a layup for her. I mean, there was like canceled bouts and stuff, but at the end of the day, a very favorable matchup for her. She gets it done. Nearly knocks her out in the first round. That was impressive because Godinez, she's been wanting to flash that boxing, and I was confused why she even took it to the ground because she could have pieced up Elise Reed there. But eventually, I mean, we called it on the preview show. Lupi Godinez, she takes her down. It's easy money. She did it. She had 5 takedowns, 6 submission attempts. I saw somebody tweet that Lupi Godinez's family had her by submission because it looked like she could have knocked her out multiple times. But she just really wanted that submission. 6 submission attempts, nearly had the armbar first round too. So good win for her. Dominant performance. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I was glad to see her go for the kill at every second of this fight. Like she was looking to end Elise Reed. And that's what you got to do in that situation. Like the worst thing that could have happened for Lupi there was to win a boring decision. It doesn't really do anything. Like you're fighting a girl that you're supposed to murk. Go out there and try to murk her, and she did. So yeah. Hats off to Lupi. She looked pretty sharp too. She hits hard. Wrestling skills are there. Got the submission. She's fun to watch when she turns it on.
Agreed. Same with Roman Kopylov getting it done second round once again. And I mean, the guy's kickboxing super good. Now it looks like he trains in Makhachkala Russia with the Dagestanis. So, dude's gonna be a problem. He looks really, really damn good, and he pieced up Josh Fremd pretty easily. I mean, he's not like a old volume striker, but he just wait for his openings, and take them. And when he takes them, like you're gonna get hit pretty hard. So good performance for him. You got anything on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I had him by KO -120. I had him second round finish +400. I mean, Roman Kopylov has been that one fighter I make money on every time he steps in there. And, you can tell he's training with the Dagestanis because the takedown defense is on point. Like, he wasn't giving Fremd any chance at it. And the dude is a crazy good striker, and he's fun to watch. So love me some Roman Kopylov, that's for sure.
The questionable stoppage that got overturned to a no contest. What'd you think of this one with Shirez and Lacerda?
Yeah, the refs gotta. I don't know. I can see why the ref stopped it because his arm did look limp. But I mean, he's given the thumbs up. I think you gotta investigate that a little bit more though if you're the ref, like not just see that one little limp and call it. I think you really got to tug on the arm or start yelling at the dude like, "Give me a thumbs up, give me something." But he stopped it pretty quick, I thought. And right after Lacerda was giving him the thumbs up, and he let it go on a few seconds, then obviously stopped it. But I think Shirez, if he didn't get the finish there, I think that sequence, him cranking down on the neck, having him in the choke, like that was probably going to take the gas out of Lacerda. We see Lacerda gas out after the first round. I think if he didn't get the finish there, it was coming shortly after or in the next round. So super disappointed to see, like we talked about earlier. Shirez, I had 3 bets on him. Would have cashed the parlay for more money, but is what it is. Yeah, it sucks seeing a no contest like that, especially when the fighter who deserved to win didn't do anything wrong and it's on the ref. Like that's what really sucks about it.
Kind of a weird game plan from Daniel Lacerda. Went out with
Mhm.
got some takedowns, which is weird, not really like him. But either way, almost found himself in a submission. The worst part about it was like the commentators saw it coming, and like they were like, "All right, he's gonna step in here. He's gonna step in here, and he shouldn't because this isn't locked in." Then he steps in, and it's pretty clear like Daniel Lacerda is there. Like he's didn't tap. In that case, where they're like standing up, I'm like, bro, he's got to be out, or he's got to tap. Like, if he's standing up, eventually he's gonna fall to the ground if he's passed out.
Yeah,
So,
watch the legs. Look at his legs.
watch the legs. Like, it was just a terrible stoppage. Like, I saw some people think it wasn't a bad stoppage, and like Lacerda was out, but I don't know, bro. Like, you could see it coming. Like, this doesn't look in, and Tyone's inching in. I mean, Daniel Lacerda probably can't understand him either. Like he's Brazilian, probably doesn't speak English, and then checks on the arm. But like the dude's trying to fight off a choke too, so I'm like, he can't really try to tell the ref like he's good. Like he's got to figure out this choke. Let him go out. Like just let him go out at that point. Dumb.
And and the thing with people saying he was out, like saying that he was actually out, whenever he let go of the choke, he would have fell for one. Two, if he did get choked out and then came back to in that split second, he's not going to be protesting. He's not going to know what the fuck is going on for a few seconds. He's not going to instantly remember like, I didn't go out there. The guy showed no signs of being out whenever he let go of the choke. So yeah, the refs got to do better there. But yeah, sucks. It really sucks.
And Shirez was like shocked that it got called. He was like, "All right, cool. I'll celebrate this." Yeah,
there should be a way to continue the fight. Like go to replay and then continue the fight. Like there's no reason for a no contest there.
Yeah,
if you can continue it.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
It's not like he took a cut or a headbutt or illegal knee, and he's like, it was a bad stoppage where a guy was not unconscious yet. So, yeah, they should look into that.
Yeah, I hate those too. There's just no way that there's no way you can't restart this fight. Like, yeah, you can. You clearly can. Just set him up against the cage, throw him in a similar position, and let him go at it. Like, these guys are probably fighting 12-12 or like 20-20. Like, come on. They probably need that extra win bonus. Maybe they got it or whatever, but yeah. It's tough. Cortez Jasudavicius, I don't got much on this one other than Jasmine is a dog, but her striking is there's just no pop to it whatsoever. Like she's tough. There's just no pop to her striking. It was clear Cortez had the speed and the power advantage on the feet, and the wrestling, defensive wrestling was held up for the most part for her. What'd you think?
Yeah, we both had Jasudavicius as the free. It was the free play of the week. I think Tracy looked better than I expected her to. I expected Jasmine not to be that powerful on the feet, but I expected her to have a little bit more, knowledge and able to keep that range and distance better than she did. But Cortez fought well. I don't know how it's a 30-27 when you look at round two. Jasudavicius landed more significant strikes or total strikes. She had 2 takedowns. I don't know. 30-27 seems suspect, but she lost the fight, so it doesn't matter.
Charlie Campbell, Alex Reyes. Whenever the update on the roster comes out, you will definitely see Alex Reyes has been removed from the roster. He should probably hang it up. Charlie Campbell, layup of a debut. Nothing else on that one, unless you got something.
Just that Charlie Campbell has got some power, but I wasn't overly impressed with them leading up to that sequence by any means.
Yeah. And the first fight of the night, I hope to God we see Marn McMahon has been removed from the roster because she had no reason to be in that UFC octagon, man. She is straight up booty. Like Josephine Knudsen is solid. She's undefeated, but like she's nothing crazy. The fact that she didn't finish Marn McMahon tells me something because it was clear domination. I don't know what, like she clearly needed a finish. Like Marn McMahon is ass, and Knudsen goes in there needing a finish. Like she needs to prove something. She's getting a layup here. She needs to get a finish. I'm saying this because I was pissed I had her inside the distance. But
yeah, same.
My God, dude. Marn McMahon should be cut. What do you think?
81-8, significant strike count. I mean, 81 for Knudsen, 8 for Marn McMahon, and there's no finish there. Like that's crazy to me. And I feel like she got the position to finish her multiple times in this fight. Like I was just waiting for it, and it never came. She didn't seem like she had that urgency I thought she would coming off the Contender Series fight where she almost had a finish and then doesn't get a contract. And the UFC calls her for this last minute slot because they need another fight on this card. And she doesn't go in there trying to prove her point. I mean, she obviously did. She beat up, Marn McMahon for 3 rounds, 30-24 on a scorecard, but it's Marn McMahon. You know what I mean? Like you got to finish Marn McMahon in this situation. And she just didn't show that she really wanted to that bad. She's a good fighter, but at some point you gotta crank it up a little bit and get these girls out of here.
Honestly, didn't understand why she took her down because whenever she'd take her down, like man would just hold her there. Like she's just holding on for dear life. She's not even trying to do anything. She's not even trying to get up. She gets up, she's gonna get punched in the face. She doesn't want any of that. All she's doing is just holding you there,
piecing her up on the feet.
Yeah, it was.
Man,
she probably could have set herself up there for performance bonus if she just kept it on the feet and knocked her out on the feet. But unfortunate. She gets a win, though, nonetheless. And that's the recap for Noche UFC. We'll be coming to you with the Dana White Contender Series breakdown for this week, and we'll be coming to you for the UFC breakdown for this week. We got Fiziev Gamrot this Saturday, and then I believe we got a break after that. So stay tuned to that for the channel. Drop a subscription, support the channel, hit the like button for us. Follow at the Double Leg on Instagram to stay up to date with everything. If you want in on the premium membership, the link is in the description for that. Gets you every single UFC card every week for less than $1 a day at HI Picks on the medias for me. Where can they find you?
All social media is at the Parlay MMA.
Appreciate y'all for the support. Till the next video, the Double Leg signing out.